So we are at the stage where we're trying to separate the shell of the Airstream from the frame and the subfloor. There are 46 of these carriage bolts in this C-channel that have to be cut off. They have these old-fashioned square nuts on them, so the idea of just unscrewing it isn't really feasible, and most of them are rusty, and many of them in these really tight spots like this. I'm not even sure how they did it when they built them. So I've been using a grinder. I cut through the C-rail, the channel here, and then into the bolt by going between the washer and the nut. In between each of those are these long Phillips head screws that have long since rusted and kind of frozen up. Some of them I can just unscrew. Most I'm having to wedge underneath the channel and cut with the grinder and then pop the head off. And that's just to separate the shell from the frame, and not including all the rivets. If you see here, the shell has 3 layers of aluminum that these rivets go through. The C-channel, the belly pan comes up to here, and then the exterior wall. So my wife is outside tapping and drilling each of these from the outside in to separate these 3 layers of aluminum. So the belly pan will drop and separate, and we can hopefully lift the shell. And these are, gosh, every inch all the way around the perimeter. So if you have a big Airstream, you're gonna have a lot of these to do. She found a good technique where on the head of the rivet, she uses a larger drill bit to kind of make a depression, and then she comes back with an 1/8 inch drill bit and drills it out through the shell. That's been working pretty well. It's not easy. It's a tough job. And some of these front part of the front and the back have this bumper rail, for lack of a bit, on the exterior. They have these long flathead screws in them. Now ours is a little different because it's the 1957. It doesn't have the little plastic inset. It could be color, blue, gray. It's just this aluminum with flathead screws. Hey bird. And you can see, we went around to see how many we could unscrew. And on the back, out of probably 26 or 30 screws that hold this in, we unscrewed 4. The rest are corroded over time. While all of this is aluminum, the screws are steel. So this right here, where it hits the aluminum in that second layer, it's corroded and it's just frozen these screws. These have been tougher. We've had to go on the inside, cut the screw where we can see it, which is about 1 inch long, leaving just the head and then the part that's screwed into these 3 layers. Then we have to come back with a grinder, grind the head off, pop this rail, then take vice grips and unscrew what's left of the screw. And you may be wondering why. We tried going between the layers of aluminum with a saw, metal blade. Didn't work. It was too aggressive, and it was damaging some of the aluminum. And we tried grinding in between. This is all just too tight. All this up under here. You can see you couldn't even get a saw blade in there. So we're going to sacrifice this old rail to get these screws out, because if we don't, we can't get the shell off the frame, and then we'll have to buy new. And we found this online, so we know we can buy this again to replace it. But if you have a model like this, just anticipate that these screws are going to be nearly impossible to take out. We've been on this for all of today and most of yesterday evening, and we've only gotten 1 rail off the bat.